Hello, my name is Christopher Romaine and I'm the Real Estate Manager for Nomad Capitalist. I'll be doing a series of videos throughout the year called Nomad on the Ground, with our initial focus on Dubai, UAE. Today, I'm going to look at some of the general advantages and disadvantages of investing in commercial real estate in comparison to residential. I'll also talk briefly about Dubai, highlighting some of the interesting facts to support commercial investment. Most real estate investors tend to focus on residential, as it's a market with the most information online and it's generally well advertised with plenty of options and stock. And this is what people know, having normally purchased or rented their own property. But what they may not realise is that as an investor, they might be missing out on some real deals and opportunities in the commercial market. Of course, most people who invest in real estate but don't live in it themselves will rent it out to others and hopefully generate quite a good passive income. However, it is worth noting that the relationship between a landlord and a tenant can be very different. Residential tenants tend to be far more emotional. After all, it is their home and they're using their own personal money to pay for the property. And of course, commercial tenants, it tends to be more business-like and far less emotional in their approach, concerned primarily with the operational requirements of that space. Commercial property is any property not primarily used as a residence. So this includes offices, retail spaces, warehouses and hotels. And the reason many businesses prefer to rent is to utilise that saved capital for their own growth and development, of course. It is generally believed that getting into commercial property investment is harder than residential, and this is mainly down to the fact that it takes more upfront capital to purchase. The two main reasons that commercial units tend to be larger, meaning the net returns do tend to be greater, and that banks offer lower loan-to-value ratios than they would for residential. Therefore, the lended sum will be a smaller percentage of the overall cost, leaving investors to put more of their own capital into the property. You may also have multiple tenants in a commercial property. For example, investing in an office space might mean you gain responsibility for multiple floors with multiple tenants on each of those floors. So the best solution in these scenarios is to make sure you hire a property manager to look after your tenants. Not only can they be your point of contact, saving time for your own business, but they can also ensure that terms and conditions in those commercial agreements are accurate and protect your best interests. This is extremely important for commercial leasing. One of the reasons commercial investing is popular, even with the additional upfront cost, of course, is the higher rate of returns. Residential tenants can change regularly, and especially in Dubai, many of the younger age groups between, let's say, 20 to 40 years old like to move around and are always looking for the next big and shiny place to live. Commercial tenants tend to regularly sign up for multi-year leases with potential increments throughout the term. You may agree to a fixed rate, let's say, for the first 2 years, but then increase the rent by 5 to 10% in years 3 and 4. Commercial agreements can also have up to 6 months as a termination clause, further protecting your long-term income. And in comparison, most residential leases allow you 1 to 3 months to break the lease. Another potential winner is that with some commercial leases, the tenant or company may pay the building service charges, taxes, and the upkeep and maintenance inside the unit, meaning that there are even less expenses to you, the landlord, increasing your net profits, of course. Now, that's not to say that it's not worth investing in residential property. It is, after all, much easier to find tenants for housing than it is to find commercial tenants willing to sign multi-year leases. And the core reason why is that people will always need somewhere to live. With residential property, there will always be a demand. Well, that is if you invest in a high occupancy building or area. With commercial property, the return on investment can be much higher, but only if you have a good tenant. Therefore, it's a great idea to invest in a commercial property that already has tenants, and it's less advisable to invest in a vacant commercial property, unless you've studied the market thoroughly and recognize its potential. Now, looking specifically at Dubai, the majority of demand for office units came from smaller units, less than 1,000 square meters, with a preference for Cat A fit out rather than shell and core space. And of course, Cat A refers to an office space that already has flooring, suspended ceilings, usually in electrical infrastructure and even potentially partitioning. The growth in demand for real estate over the last 12 months has been driven by a variety of factors, including economic reforms such as 100% foreign ownership, the ever-evolving visa incentives, and of course the way we handled the pandemic has been instrumental in creating buoyancy in the Dubai commercial sector. Citywide occupancy levels are at the highest since the 2014 peak, rising from 78% in 2021 to 83% as of Q4 2022, resulting in the absorption of over 5 million square feet in the last 12 months. Citywide occupancy levels have been at their highest since the 2014 peak, rising from 78% in 2021 to 83% as of Q4 2022, resulting in an absorption of 5.4 million square feet in the last 12 months. Citywide Grade A stock is at a higher occupancy level of 86%, while Grades B and C stock is at an occupancy level of 82%. Most Grade A buildings are reaching near full occupancy, with tenants being pushed to Grade B and C buildings, leading to an uptick in absorption in properties performing sluggishly over the last several years. At the moment, the cost of renting a premium class office in Dubai will cost approximately $1,000 to $1,300 per square metre, which, for comparison to London, for example, which is first place, offers offices at the price of $3,000 per square metre of space. Now, if you compare this even further to the residential price of $3,800 per square metre, there is no doubt that Dubai's commercial market might be worth a look for investors looking to diversify in such a buoyant market. Now, the real key to any real estate investment is conducting detailed research and due diligence. Understanding the overall real estate market and sub-market life cycles, population trends, employment rates, occupancy rates, transport infrastructure are just some of the critical factors when considering to invest. Also, if you want to lease a commercial space, depending on its type and the activities that will take place, often you need to conduct more extensive research. For example, the property may need to meet certain municipality and construction requirements to make it ready for tenancy. So, there may be a need for, let's say in a warehouse, a fire suppression system, or in an office, maybe a minimum gap in the suspended ceiling plenum. Or again, in an office, you might need an upgraded AC cooling system. Now, potentially you might be able to pass some of this cost on to a tenant, but generally tenants want a finished product to move into, especially right now. So I recommend to all owners that own multiple units, whether it's residential or commercial, to hire a property manager to handle the day-to-day. They will stay on top of payments, send notices for renewals, raise rents when applicable with the law, and deal with maintenance issues. I mean, do you really want to be disturbed in the middle of the night with a tenant that's got, let's say, a water leak? Of course not. So, in conclusion, diversification is the key to anyone's property investment portfolio. Commercial property can be highly profitable and provide great returns if you know what you are looking for. If you are looking for opportunities to invest in Dubai or other international cities, please visit nomadcapitalist.com for more information on our services and how we might be able to help you. Thank you.